Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? Okay, so as of now, and I know it's been a really long time since I've been over here for a weight loss journey update, but as of now, I think that this is going to be the very last weight loss journey update that I ever do on this channel. I've done a lot of thinking about it. I've talked to my therapist a lot about it. I've talked to other people about it, and I've done a lot of soul searching on it. And I think that this needs to be the end. I think this needs to be the end. And I talked about this on my vlog a couple days ago, and I wasn't entirely sure whether or not I needed to come back here and make a video. And in fact, I actually asked on my vlog, I was like, do you guys think that I need to clarify it on my Peter Does Stuff channel too? Because that's where the weight loss journey update existed. And the majority of the comments, people said, no, I don't think you need to address it again. Just, it is what it is. But I felt like I needed to come over here and address it because it was something that I started. It was something that I did every week. And in going back and watching some of my older videos about it, I found that I had said that I was going to be back on January 2nd. Well, it is currently April 8th, and I have continued to say in my vlog every once in a while, like, it's coming back, and I've made a decision that I'm not going to return to the weight loss journey online. So I kind of wanted to explain a little bit of what's happened, because I've gotten so many direct messages from people, and people have commented on my vlog, and it's interesting. So I've gotten a lot of people that have said, Peter, you look like you've lost a lot of weight, which is very nice. I actually got a comment, and somebody said something to the effect of, I know we shouldn't comment these kinds of things on video, blah, 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 whatever, but you really look like you've lost a lot of weight, and I think it was while we were on vacation. I think it was actually a vlog while we were in Miami, and I was like, well, that's, no, I think that's a really nice comment. I don't take any criticism of that comment whatsoever, but I do understand that we live in this world where we're not supposed to make comments, you know, about people looking like they've lost weight or whatever. The reason why I felt like that was really a nice comment was because in actuality, I've gained quite a bit of weight. I don't know if it was the angle of the camera when I filmed that vlog. I have no idea what was going on. I think it was because I was sitting on the floor and I had the camera on the table in our hotel in Miami, and it was kind of like leaning down on me like this. And so I think that might have had something to do with it. But no, I haven't lost any weight. I've gained over 20 pounds. Since I have made my last video, and just in all transparency. There's also been a lot of people that have asked me, they've said things like, you know, like, oh, like, it looks like you've lost a lot of weight, like, are you doing the shot now? Did you decide to do the shot? I have not done the shot, any shot. I haven't done any shot. And I even said during my weight loss journey that if that was a decision, that I was very open about having talked to my doctors about that. And that if that was a decision that I made to do, that during the weight loss journey, I would come on here and I would share that. I am still not on the shot, nor have I ever been on the shot. Let me tell you what my plan was. Okay, so I didn't really remember exactly how it all went down until I went back and watched back some of my videos. So I've been really, really struggling for the last couple months. And I think if you watch my weight loss journey in real time, I think it's no surprise that I was really struggling during the weight loss journey. I feel like there's a combination of so many things that have gone on, and I have worked heavily with my therapist. I've worked from a 12-step point of view, which has been recommended to me. I've worked with my doctors. I've worked with, you know, personal trainers, nutritionists. I've done the whole thing at this point, right? And so at that point, I kind of felt like I had done it for so long and I was stagnant for so long. And I actually have it all written in here because I wanted to, I wrote down the last time that I weighed myself on camera, and I was 206.6. And so at that point, and I think today when I weighed myself, I was 228.2. I meant to write it down, but I think I was 228.2. So I've gained 28 or 22 pounds since I made my last video, which is quite a bit of weight, right? And so at that point, I felt like I had tried it online for a long time, and, you know, maybe I needed to do something different. I felt like I needed to do something different. When I started it, you know, it's interesting because when I started doing it online, there were a few people, but there are a lot of people that were really encouraging. To all of you guys out there that were really encouraging of me, I'm really grateful for that. Thank you so much. In all honesty, I think that had I not done it, I think I probably would be up in the 260s again. I really think that that period of maintaining my weight for that long period of time really taught me that I can do it. I think that's one thing I did learn from that, if I learned anything, really. And, you know, people were so encouraging. They're like, you know, weight maintenance is great. I talked a lot about plateauing. So let me just tell you. So, okay, I've been struggling a lot with this. So in talking to my therapist and some other people, they recommended that I go back and I watch the videos. So I've gone back and I've watched most of the videos. And, you know, at the beginning, people would say things to me like, when you do online weight loss, notoriously people don't lose weight when they do online weight loss journeys and things like that. And, you know, I came out and I said, that's not true. That's not true. Like, for me, this is really, really good. I can't speak to other people's experiences. I will say this. I don't regret doing it online. I don't regret it at all because I maintained my weight for almost a year. So I maintained my weight for almost a year, and I'm grateful for that, you know? And so, and going back and watching the video, I saw that I had said that I was going to come back on January 2nd. And I was like, it's a long time since January 2nd. So around that time, around like the new year, what happened was I was like, I'm going to start walking every day. I'm going to do what I need to do. I know what I need to do. I've said that from the very beginning. I've said that for the last 10 or 15, 20 years. I know what I need to do. I just need to do it. And so my goal, and when I would say in my vlogs, like, it's coming back, was, like every other year, I knew that we were going to Ultra Music Festival in Miami, and so I was going to do this big reveal, right? Like, that was my plan, that I was going to do this big reveal, and I was going to come back, and I was going to say, I've, like, lost all this weight, and I'm, like, really in shape, and I'm feeling really healthy, and blah, blah, blah. Well, that did not happen. And it was a couple weeks before, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I went off the deep end, and was eating what I wanted to eat. Then I'd have a week where I was really healthy. Then I'd have a week where I just ate what I wanted to eat and just went back and forth, you know? I think, and I've talked at length about having body dysmorphia, having, you know, food addiction, and those are all things that I've continued to work on. It's not like I stopped filming online and I stopped talking about it. Those are things that I continued to talk about. And so, you know, like, and even, like, sharing that my weight is, you know, 228 or whatever today, it's still less than I was a couple years ago. I think my fear today is that I'm going to get back to where I was before, like up into the 260s. I think that's my fear. And not even really from like a weight point of view, as far as like fitting into clothes and things like that, but from a health point of view. Just recently, I had a friend of mine that had a stroke. You know, as you get older, you start thinking about these things. I've had friends of mine that had heart attacks that were a lot healthier than I am. And so you start thinking about those things, and weight is a huge contributor, not necessarily maybe to strokes, but weight is a huge contributor when it comes to heart issues and things like that. And so that's always been my concern, right? And so my goal was I was going to come back before Miami and be like, look, like, I'm at my goal weight, you know? When I ended the weight loss journey, which I think was like right after Thanksgiving sometime, I said on there that, that I knew that by the new year that I could lose, I think at that point, like what I said was 206.6. I knew that I could lose the weight, and I did know that I could lose the weight. I just didn't lose the weight. And so my plan was that I really wanted to come on here, you know, before we left for Miami and be like, oh, I'm 175. I'm like my goal weight, you know, or whatever, and or close to my goal weight and being whatever I wanted to be. And that just did not happen. I will say that a couple weeks before, and this is what I always do, a couple weeks, maybe a month before we left for Miami, I started eating really healthy again. I started walking a lot, and I did get down a little bit. And so I, you know, at that point was like, when I was like, well, maybe I should come back online and do it, because the accountability of doing it online really, really helped me. In all honesty, it did. And I'll tell you one reason that I don't regret doing it online is that I've had so many people that have reached out to me that said that they started their weight loss journey when I started mine, and that they've lost the weight and they've kept it off. Number one, that's really inspiring to me. Number two, a lot of those people have thanked me for doing it online and sharing my story. And if me sharing my story, even if I wasn't completely successful or successful at all, if me sharing my story has helped anybody out there, I'm grateful for that, you know? I think the hard thing is, I'm like, why is what I'm saying getting through to somebody else? And what everybody else, I'm sharing what my therapist and everybody else is saying online to me is getting through to everybody else, but it's not getting through to me. And so what I know is that I am my biggest obstacle. I know that I am the one that is standing in the way of myself and my success when it comes to my health journey. Incidentally, I just went and I had my annual physical and had my blood work done and all that kind of stuff, and everything. My blood work all, came back great, which that's good. So, but I really thought a lot about coming back, and I have to be honest with you, towards the end, I found myself and I think it was probably, you could sense it on the videos. I didn't want to get on video and be like, yeah, again, I'm the same weight, or I'm up 4.4 pounds, or I'm down 0.6 pounds. It just got to be this, it just felt laborious to a point where I almost felt like I was doing it online because I had made this commitment to doing it, other than doing it to myself. Or doing it for myself. And so I've thought a lot about it, and I just think, for me, I think the other thing is, I've compared it a lot to sobriety, and I've shared this a lot in videos across the board. I don't know that, and you know what, and maybe everybody was right that said, you shouldn't do this online. Maybe there's a lot of truth in that. I don't know. For me, I don't regret it. But that's one of the things I am taking into consideration. I do take what people's suggestions into consideration. It's one of the reasons I'm thinking, okay, maybe you need to do something completely different, maybe not focus so much about it online and things like that. But like I said, I wanted to come back and I didn't want it just to fade off and then, people be like, well, he never mentioned that again. I wanted there to be, at least for me, to be some closure about talking about this. And so, but yeah, I just would get on here to film every week, and I just felt like, to film it and to talk about it made me feel even more unsuccessful than I felt. I don't know if that makes sense. And so I was starting to really beat myself up about it. And I was like, I didn't want to come back until I had something successful to share, because I thought, what's the point? And then I never really had anything successful to share. And that's just the reality. So I don't know a lot about any of this. I know it's a consistent conversation that I have, with people in my life. I know that I know the things that I need to do. I know that I'm the one that's standing in the way. I know that when I make this video, I'll probably get a range of comments from people telling me you can do it, to, you should never have done it online, to, I really appreciate you sharing it online, to, I'm going to get, I'm going to get a huge difference of comments over here. And in all honesty, I'm doing the video for you, but I'm also doing it for myself to close out this part of, what I was doing online. I don't know. I thought a lot about it, and I thought, to be honest with you, and the people that I've talked to in my real life, and I've said, should I come back? It's very few people that have suggested to me to come back online and continue to film it. And so it was almost, it felt like I was getting obsessive about it, and to the point where it wasn't healthy for me anymore. And it really wasn't about the fact that, because I was filming online, because for a very, very long time, filming online felt like accountability. Towards the end, it didn't feel like that. And I don't really know how to explain the difference. I really don't know how to explain it. For a long time, it felt like accountability. If I wanted to go and eat something bad. And, and maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's why I gained so much weight, when I got done doing it. So I gained weight, and then I lost a little bit before we went on the trip, but nothing to brag about, I don't know. I wanted to come on here, and I wanted to just let you guys know what was going on. Through the months, I've gotten a lot of questions from people like, where's the weight loss journey? Is the weight loss journey coming back? Blah, 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 whatever. And I say as of now, and I say ever at the beginning of this video, because I don't know. Maybe 6 months from now, I'll turn around and I'll say, no, I've decided that I want to do it again. I don't think so, though. I don't think so. Oh, this is what I was going to say earlier. I've always shared my sobriety story since I've been on YouTube, and in May will be the 9-year anniversary of me being on I started my BookTube channel. So That's 9 years that I've actively, consistently been on YouTube, which means I was 21 years sober when I started on YouTube. I've said this consistently across all of my channels. I don't know that if in early sobriety, I could have shared my journey. I just don't know that I could have done that. I don't know that I could have got on video. Listen, I think it's really helpful for people that do. And I think that they are really encouraging for people that are in early recovery. And I think that that's great if they can do that. I had so many feelings and emotions. I don't know that I really, I was just trying to get from one day to the next and not drink and not drug, that I don't know that to share that online, I had a lot of advice to give. I don't know that I had a lot of suggestions or inspiration to give to other people. You know, today I look at that as a little bit differently. I think, you know, like, well, even just one day is something to share, but I don't know that I would have made a whole lot of sense. And similarly with the weight loss journey, I think what I wanted to do was, I think I wanted to come on here and be like, I can do this, and let's do it all together and whatever. And that just did not happen. You know, I think that if I was 5 years down the road and I was in the shape I wanted to be in, the health I wanted to be in, the weight I wanted to be in, to come on and share how I got there would feel similar to me in how I share my sobriety journey. But to do it in real time, was really hard. It was really, really hard. Like I said, I don't regret it. And mostly I don't regret it for those two reasons, because number one, I maintained my weight, and number two, because so many people have reached out to me and during that time would say, I started my weight loss journey at the same time you did, and I've lost like 30 pounds or 60 pounds. And I think that's fantastic, you know? And, so I'm happy that by me sharing my lack of success, other people were able to be successful with that, you know? And I already know that when I already know when I get on here and I share this, that there's gonna be some people out there that are gonna throw it in my face. And I knew it wasn't gonna work. Listen, that's just part of the world we live in today. I'm fully aware of that. And, you know, if my lack of success on a weight loss journey, brings somebody else joy, then so be it, you know? But I also felt like I needed to come on here, and I said from the very beginning I wanted to be transparent, and I was getting a lot of comments where people were thinking that I had lost weight, you know? And I think this is the thing, that if I had, then I would be very proud to get on here and be like, you know, look, like, I've lost a lot of weight. I'm really proud. I'm like walking. I'm doing all this but that's just not the case. It's just not the case at all. And so I was like, you know what? I need to come on here and I need to do one last video. For me, I felt like, because I asked them, like I said, I asked them in the vlog, and people were like, no, I don't think that you need to make one last video. I think this is sharing enough about it. But for me, and for those of you that kept up with the journey, because there were so many of you that every week would keep up with the journey, and I just want to say this, that, you know, I make the joke about the people that are gonna, you know, find joy in the fact that I wasn't successful, because there's always that element out there, right? But the reality is that the mass majority of people that watch those videos, to you guys out there, were so encouraging of me and so supportive of me. And I still hear those things in my head. I still hear those things like, you know what you need to do. You can do this. You can be successful. I still hear those things, right? I hope that one day, just because I'm not doing the weight loss journey anymore, doesn't mean that I won't come on here and be like, yes, like, you know, I'm where I need to be. I don't see that anywhere in the near future. And I'm also not going to come on here and say, like, I made a joke in my vlog the other, I don't even know if it was a joke, but I said when I get back, I need to, you know, like, I'm going to start walking again. I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to start doing that. And then I was like, but I'm going to order food the first night, maybe the next night. You know, I am at the point where, and I feel like I always have been, this is why I felt like there's no point to make this video, but I wanted to close it out. I've always known the things I need to do. I've always known, and I think this is very similar to me. If one thing has become clear to me, I will say this, that the number one overwhelming thing that is consistent for me is the food addiction, that I've read a lot about, talked to my therapist about, talked to my sponsor in recovery about. Because the food addiction thing is the thing that stands in the way of my what I see as my success the most, in the way that, in the times that I tried to get sober before, stood in the way, and that I knew what I needed to do. There's almost a fear that I have and very similar to leaving drugs and alcohol behind. There's almost a fear to that in doing the healthy things. It's like I stand on this fence where it's like one side of me wants to be all in and be healthy and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And the other side of me is just like, but like I love food so much. And, you know, and so those are the things that I've talked about in sessions and with people that have been successful doing these things and have helped me. And like I said, I'm continuing to read books. I'm continuing to educate myself. I don't know, maybe someday down the road, I'll be in a healthier position than I am right now. But I just wanted to let you guys know that as of now, I am not continuing. I mean, I think people probably assumed it because it's like 4 months past the date that I was supposed to return. But, you know, I don't know. If you watch my vlog, I probably will share over there, you know, like what I'm doing as far as walking and eating and stuff. But I also don't want to share it from like an obsessive point of view, because I think that's kind of a little bit of what it was turning into. But that being said, I wanted to come over here and just kind of close this chapter out a little bit. I think that it was important for me. And I just want to say thank you guys all for those of you that were supportive of me. The things that you said, and some of the comments I read in videos, and I've written the things down that people said to me when I went back and I watched the videos, like I still hear them today. They were extremely helpful to me. Your encouragement and your support, I think, was one of the things that helped me maintain my weight for a year. And I do know this. I do know, like, this is, I want to make this very clear. This is not me giving up. This is not me saying, I'm done. I'm not going to, like, just because I'm not filming online does not mean that I'm not going to continue to pursue my weight loss journey. I want to make that very clear. What I'm saying is, I do not know that I think that it is healthy for me to continue to share it online, is what I'm saying. And that doesn't mean that somebody else that does, that it's not healthy for them, you know? And like I said, maybe I'll come back in 5 years from now and I'll turn into a healthy cooking channel. Who knows? I doubt it. I doubt it. I doubt it. But, you know, I just want to say to all of you out there that were so encouraging of me for so long, thank you. You really helped me. I think that you and your thoughts and your kindness, I think it really proves that that kindness, it can help a lot more, you know, in this world than we even know. And I just want to say I really, really appreciate it. And for those of you out there that are on your own weight loss journey or health journey and are successful or struggling or whatever, I wish you all the best. I wish you all the love and all the blessings. And like I said, just because I am not sharing it online anymore does not mean that I'm giving up by any means. In fact, I think that in some ways, it will allow me a freedom to kind of, because even though I wasn't filming it the last couple months, there was still this like pressure in my head, like, you're coming back, you're going to film it, you have to return, like you said you were going to return. And so I'd be like, okay, I'm going to come back next week, you know, whatever. And I think this is probably what's best for me now. But to everybody out there that was so supportive and encouraging me, I just want to say I appreciate it. If at some point I change my mind, which I change my mind about things all the time, and I decide to come back over here and do this again, well, then I will let you guys know. But as of now, and I don't see that happening in the foreseeable future at all. But this is not me giving up on my health journey. That will continue. And if you want to hear tidbits of it from time to time, I'll probably be sharing some of it, like my walking and things like that on my vlog. But other than that, I just want to say thank you guys so much for being with me along this journey. And like I said, I don't regret it. I'm not saying that maybe people weren't right in saying that maybe I shouldn't have shared it online. I'm just saying that I learned a lot about myself through that process. And I heard a lot of things I needed to hear, things I still hear in my head today, and I got a lot of support and love from people out there, and I'm grateful for that, and that's something I wouldn't have received had I not shared it online. So anyway, with that, I will let you guys go. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.